So we've got two jobs really. You want to get to know the instrument and you want to get to know the music. Makes sense to structure the lesson like that as well. So 10 minutes will be for technique. The rest of the time will be for the songs or pieces or improvisations you've been working on during the week. To begin with, there's some orientation exercises. So how to hold the risha, how to find the strings with your right hand and your left hand without looking. And then quickly that'll turn into playing scales in the Maqams. We'll start with 9 Maqams. There are more, but these are the foundational ones, and 8 of them are the head of a family. So when you know the head, well, it makes it easier to learn the secondary Maqams later. A Maqam is a selection of notes that gives you a kind of mood or feeling. At a more advanced level, they have sentences and structures. At the most basic level, if you boil it down, you get 7 notes, usually. And if you list them from lowest to highest, that's your scale. You could divide these 9 Maqams into 2 groups. Those that use semitones or half steps. So you can play them on a piano or a guitar. These would be Maqam Ajam, which is like a major scale, Nahawand, like a minor scale, Hijaz, Nagriz, and Kurd. And then you've got those that use quarter tones that you can't play on a piano at all, because the notes would fall between the keys. These would be Rast, Beat, Sega, and Saba. Playing scales might not be the most exciting thing in the world. It's very useful. The thing with the oud is nothing's hard, nothing's complicated to understand at least, but these guys are quite slow. So we need to just repeat things a little bit. Keep it interesting. We'll add some ornamentation technique as well. Every instrument has its own signature sound. So if I gave the same melody to a qanun player, a violin player, or a ney player, they would all play that differently. On the oud, these would be things like trills, which is a rapid alternating between 2 notes, or 3 or 4 even. We've got glissandos sliding along the strings, qarar and jawab jumping across the strings. You've got arpeggios and chords and harmonics, and different ways of using the risha and combining those together. If you can practice those movements, have them at the ready when you need them for the songs or pieces. And then that kind of wraps up the technique. It's like a warm-up plus some technique-based stuff designed to get you in tune with the instrument, really. Then we come to the repertoire. You could have a sort of song tradition side and an instrumental music side. In reality, they're both together. If you're improvising, for example, knowing the songs really well is a key thing. But for the sake of just laying it all out, the classic songs we have Kulthum, Fairuz, Muhammad Abdel Wahab. If you like Khaliji music, Muhammad Abdu, or maybe you like Warda. Some really great classic songs out there, very useful for learning how to modulate from one maqam to another, for finding those sentences that I talked about, and really getting the ruh, or spirit, of each maqam, its color, its character. If you are a big fan of popular music, I'm very happy to play some of that. So if you like Balkis or Raja Belmir or Nabil Shu'ail, whoever, I have a place in my heart for him. I think the key thing here is I don't have a set idea of what a new player should look like at the end of the lessons. It's more interesting for me, but It's more interesting and useful for you if we follow your interests. At the beginning, you might not have a clear idea what you want to do. You might come to me and say, I really want to be a soloist, professional soloist. I want to improvise, play the greatest taqasims known to man. And that's great. Like we can try and do that. I'm very happy. Or you might say, no, I don't want to be a star. I just want to play this. This is for me. This is my time. I just want to play some Kulthum songs. And honestly, that's a really beautiful thing to do as well. So either way, or any other ideas that you might have. So if it's popular music or it's the classics, great. We also have these sort of traditional songs. So the muwashshahat date back to Arab Andalusia when Spain was part of the Arab Empire. Honestly, I don't know how many of them come from the origin, but it's a long tradition, and a lot of those pieces are very old. And they use the Maqams in really interesting ways. So very important to know those. They're very famous right across the Middle East, actually. And then some more complicated song forms, qasaid, based around the Qasida poems that Kulthum used to sing a lot of. So there's a lot going on there. And then you've got some traditional songs that are very well known and loved. So Bint al-Shalabih, Fog al-Nakal, La Mabadi Yatathanna. So what I want you to have here is a good knowledge of the core repertoire that everybody knows and loves. And then we might fill that out with other things from around the region. I want you to see the Maqams in all the different possibilities. And I've just been talking about the song traditions. So then we come to the instrumental music. There are oud players who have composed for the oud specifically, like the brothers Munir and Jamil Bashir from Iraq, or maybe Nasir Shama, or Said Shrabi from Morocco. It's over there. I'm just imagining the map. Iraq's over here, Morocco's over there. I've not gone crazy. And then we've got these pieces that are written, maybe not specifically for the oud, but for ensembles. So things by Muhammad al-Qasabji, or just the samais and bashrafs in general. These are pieces with a sort of verse-chorus structure that come from the Ottoman traditions. We've got longas, Riyad Sambati's famous longa. They're normally quite light and joyous, those pieces. And then you've got the taqasim, the structured improvisations as well. Amongst all of this, I'm very happy to include pieces or take a look at songs from more local traditions. So here I would be talking about the Iraqi Maqam or the Andalusi traditions from over here in Morocco. Or maybe the Fan al-Bahri from Qatar, something like this. I'm very happy to look at these things and include them in lessons if you're interested, but I would point out that I'm not a specialist in those. These are things that tend to be known, in a local tradition and not stretched across the whole region. If you want to study the Iraqi Maqam, go and find somebody who does that every day. My speciality is really, I trained as a soloist in the Iraqi tradition with my teacher Ahmed Mukhtar in London. He was a very good teacher. And then I studied the Iraqi tradition starting there, but oud soloists more generally, in the dark old days when I did research. And then my interest these days, I love the music from the 1920s and 30s, the early recordings, particularly from Egypt at the moment, the Tarab style music. I won't get into trying to define that right now. That's a whole other video. But I love that early music. Anything with an oud in it, I feel quite at home with, but I'm just saying if it's a local tradition, you might want to find somebody who does that, if you know this is all I want to do. As a teacher, with all this repertoire, I want to try and give you the skills, because my job is to try and get rid of you. If you keep coming back to me for 30 years or whatever, I've done a really bad job. So we've got two skills I'm thinking of here: notation, how to read music notation, and then how to play by ear. A lot of people don't like the idea of notation, which is, I understand it. When you see Cindy Lati or Nada Mahmood or Riyad Sambati, whoever it is, when they're performing live, they don't tend to use notation. They're inside the music, feeling it. And when I used to perform live, I can't anymore, but I was the same. You want to know the music so well that you're focused on the delivery rather than the mechanics. However, if you're learning music, or working in a recording studio where time is money, or if you have written this piece of music and you want to share it with an orchestra or another group of people, notation is really very useful. And for teaching, it's a really great reference point. So if you were learning the oud, I'm fairly confident in saying anywhere across the Middle East in an oud school or institute, you would be using music notation. I've seen a lot of the booklets, so I know that's the case. For us, it's so I can say in bar 4, the sort of 5th note needs a little bit of tweaking, and you know straight away where I mean. If you have any questions, what's this? I don't know what this is. It's the instructions for the piece. You've got it to take away and practice. It just works really nicely. And like I say, it's a skill, so when you've left me, gone off to do great things, it's something that can help you find what you want. And the other skill is playing by ear, so you can't write all the details down. I usually have my oud by my side, and I'll demonstrate things as we go. It might be ornamentation, it might be the subtleties of timing. Sometimes you can play all the right notes, and it still is missing something. Or it might be improvising. I might ask you to sort of copy me, and then maybe I'll copy you. We have a little conversation. I like to work improvising in right from the beginning. And then as you go, it'll grow into the more conventional structured taqasim. But it's important, I think, to see the maqam from all these different angles. Playing from notation is a very different experience to playing with no idea what comes next, or trying to hear in your mind how the melody should go. So I like to think we keep both of these things going. It's not one or the other. You need both. It's a beautiful picture I'm painting here, if you can do all of these things, but the the dark side is that you need to do it, not me. I can already do it. So I'm like a Google Maps, or I don't know, a sat nav, and it'll come to a point where you put in the destination. Maybe not straight away, maybe you want to see what's out there first, but you'll decide, I really love this stuff. Great, go for it. I say, go left, go right. But you've got to get there. And so I'm talking about practice. Half an hour a day, if you can do it, I think is realistic and doable and will help you make progress. Yeah, I said every day. Some people fall into the trap of thinking I have a day off on Saturday. I could do 2 hours then, and that'll do me for the week. I have students who do that, and they get frustrated. because they don't make the progress. And it's not that we repeat every week. I try and keep things varied, but they just sense they're not really progressing. It's much better if you do less every day. Coming back to the technique, things we talked about earlier, it's about physically getting the muscles to remember the distances and connect that to what's going on in your brain. And that needs every day to reinforce those things. And when you do that, everything becomes easier and you enjoy it more. If you have a very stressful job and you come home very tired, 15 minutes is a bare minimum. If you can do more, do an hour a day, that's great. I know most people can't, so I say half an hour. And then I think it's kind of worth reflecting. You know, in life, there's two things can be true, but complete opposites. And this is that the music is you, which I think is a very powerful statement. And I think as a teacher, that's really important to remember, that you're the music, not me. At the same time, you're not the music. It's always other people. Why I think this is important. So you are the music in the sense that you have to learn the movements, you have to learn the repertoire, you have to decide who you want to be as a performer. All of that's you. What's not you at all is where this music came from. And then playing with others is really important. One of the downsides of doing it this way is that I can't play in sync with you. There's always a delay. The way I kind of get around that is I'll make you backing tracks of percussion, maybe some virtual instruments as well. So you can get used to comparing the version you have in your head with a reality of other people doing different things. It's a useful skill to have. And I always encourage my students, if you have the chance to go out and find other people to play with, very useful. So there's that side. But there's also, when I say the music's not you, it's where it's come from. You've got this whole tradition of the ancestors from 100 years ago or more that we've got recordings from now. And I say this as a sort of counterpoint to this idea that I think YouTube and things have given us these days, that the 5 secrets to know this music, or the cheat codes, or you have a student, I was the same. I want to play a great taqasim, I just need this, this, and this, and then I'll do it. If your goal is, I want to play a great taqasim, I think you have the wrong goal. I think I used to have the wrong goal. I think better to approach it as, this is a part of my life now. It's going to take a bit of time. I'm going to hang out with all these really great old recordings. These people, maybe when you listen to them, you don't really get it the first time or the second time. If you spend time and listen to them, there's so much that you can learn from them and that they can tell you. And then if you've grown your skills of being able to play by ear, you can copy and follow along. And that's when the magic happens. And if you can enjoy that process of practicing every day and listening to what's going on around you and discovering, seriously, in all honesty, I find new things every day. And I'll never get to the end. And it's not scary. It's beautiful. And if you can enjoy that process, then playing a nice taqasim, maybe not the greatest, but a nice one, it'll happen. You don't even have to aim for the stars on that. So I think that's important. My teacher, Ahmed, he was very good at reminding me that what we did in the class was part of something bigger. Those beautiful sentences that we're playing have been passed down literally from hand to hand to us, and then we pass them on. They don't belong to us. We just keep them going, keep them moving. enjoy them. Maybe I'll pass them on to you. Yeah. If any of that sounds interesting, get in touch. The next step is we'll have a chat. You don't have to pay for that. That's a free chat. I'll ask you some questions about your oud, your strings, the tuning, your experience, whether you can read music or not, the kinds of things you'd like to focus on, your goals. Just so that in the first lesson, if you decide you want to, we can hit the ground running. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time either. So, yeah. If you decide you'd like to do that, yeah, I look forward to hearing from you.